All right. Hello. So this is my second attempt at doing this, but we're doing a live typing class today on Zohran Mamdani. I had some technical issues before, but now be good. Um, so what's happening is that we're going to go over different clips, and I'm going to have some takeaways or guesses at the end of what his type is. But we're going to work a little bit backwards from a few things I'm seeing in his type just to set up the clips, because I think he does have NF and NT high. So we'll kind of look at that as well as social type. But yeah, no accuracy guaranteed here. We're just going to be going through it and seeing how people are guessing. You know, if you have a guess, I'll have a link in the description for submitting your guess to the survey. I'll be sharing those publicly, and kind of treat this as a crowdsourced typing. I think that within the OPS community, it's a good idea to start having more avenues to type people aside from just what's in the classes, and start using this knowledge, have a little extra practice typing, because typing one person a week is nice, but I think we can get more reps in, more repetitions, and it's really good. So without further ado, we're gonna get in on some clips, and each clip is gonna be about a couple minutes long. I only have 3 clips set up today, so it is gonna be a shorter class than what you're used to. Thanks for some comments here. I appreciate that. After technical interviews, we have a Breakfast Club interview as well. Yep, I'll have a clip for that. But first, we're going to look into this NPR clip, which is after Zohran won his nomination in the Democrat Party for NYC mayor. What we're going to look at is the NF. So Zohran probably has NF savior, and he's being asked certain questions, like, Dave will always say things like, hey, this interviewer is trying to trick you or set you up, and these shows are designed to get people in a weird state. And so let's just watch. So each clip is going to be a couple minutes. Let's start.
Official to ever run for mayor. The turnout in those same communities has been incredible to see.
Is your party maybe refusing to learn any lessons from your win? I mean, are you frustrated at all with your party in the sense that you did something that a lot of people thought was impossible, whether they like your candidacy or not? And yet here we are, where you are convincing part of it to get behind you.
I'm not frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what we're seeing now is less than a week since those results.
Yeah.
And it sent a shockwave through our politics. And I think that it will take people time to digest those results, and the fact that so much of this analysis that we have treated as fact is actually out of step with where New Yorkers are. And I'm excited to earn the support of those that I have spoken to and those that I haven't even met yet. And I think that that's at the core of my desire, is not to win an argument or represent the people who've already voted for me, but rather to lead this entire city. That's 8.5 million people. And I know that I could, can win this general election with the same number of voters that we had in the primary. But that's not the way that you govern. You govern by ensuring that you look to every New Yorker, especially the ones who had questions or doubts or suspicions, and you give them the time to actually speak to them. Because I think for far too long, we've thought of politics as removed from people.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe...
All right. Yeah, that's so he's definitely not being a decider about things. Like, he's willing to work with people, people who didn't vote for him, all kinds of people. And he's really into coalition building. So another thing we're going to be digging into is a social type. So I may as well just say it now. I think he's a social 2. And so, like, whereas the social 1s will be a little bit more isolated or isolating, the social 2s are going to be more willing to work with others, and that's going to be their kind of superpower. It can be misused, but yeah, in his case, he's willing to talk to everyone. And so that's a combination of like double deciding as well as, the friend's energy. So it's very, very friendly in that regard. Yeah, another thing is like from the NF vibe perspective, he's not like holding anything back. Like it's kind of a little bit of the hippie vibe, but it's probably too soon to talk about that. So let's see the next one.
Evening official to ever run.
Yeah, here's a Breakfast Club interview where he talks a little bit more in terms of the NI. Charlemagne will ask him about what is democratic socialism or socialism in general. And yeah, so like you can see that what he's doing is he's explaining things in the NT, but also in the NF of like, what is the meaning behind certain things in politics that are commonly misunderstood. So, yeah. And as we saw in the previous clip, he's not really holding anything against people. So that's a very observer type situation where observers aren't really trying to hold grudges. They're trying to talk about the thing. So anyway, here's some more like an NI description of socialism.
I saw your rent was $2,300 a month.
Yes, sir. $2,300 for a 1-bedroom in Astoria.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Was 500 square feet?
It's not too much more than that. Let me tell you.
You know, it's interesting, right? Because Democrats have created all this new politically correct language for everything: gender, sexuality, pregnant women. How come y'all haven't found a better way to discuss socialism? Why is socialism a dirty word when essentially all you want to do is take care of people?
I don't think it should be. I think it's actually a word that when you break down its meaning, like you just have done, is one that many Americans agree with. And we've seen that despite all the attempts, Bernie Sanders continues to be one of the most popular politicians in America. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, similarly. And they have both defined themselves in that same language. And I think it's that.
But I think it's because they tell, more so nowadays, instead of just leaning on the word socialism, they just tell people, you should have free healthcare. You should have a free education. You should be able to make a livable wage. You know, they should increase the minimum wage. Like, those are just simple concepts that are all socialism. Yeah. But for some reason, y'all still find yourselves tripping up over that word, or letting the other side use it as a dirty word.
I think it's because there are a lot of people making a lot of money in this moment who would want Americans to think that that's the only way life can be. And I don't hide this. You know, it's how I see the world. It's the world that I want. It's one of dignity. And it's funny, there's this one guy who comments under almost every one of my tweets, and he's like, he's a socialist. I'm like, yeah, it's in my bio. You know, this is this.
Yeah. So what's interesting here is that Zohran is not hiding something. So what is he not hiding? He's not hiding basically his intuition. He's not hiding his understanding. He's upfront with what he sees socialism as, and he's willing to share that with the tribe. He's willing to, in my opinion, TE work with, AOC as well as Bernie Sanders. He's like, let me just basically copy their homework. And, we know a certain play function that likes to do that, my own ST play. But really what it comes down to is he's not afraid to explain in the NI what the concept is, and he's not moving on it. He has a personal definition of socialism that he's using. It means something different to a lot of people, but he's willing to explain the understanding and give the understanding to people of what that word might mean. Yeah, and just building on that. So yeah, there's a little bit more of the social too there, where he's willing to coalition build with, AOC, who's a number one. So he's not letting his ego get in the way of working with people like AOC and Bernie. But he's trying to move the ball forward, basically. So that's generalist.
I saw your rent was $2,300 a month.
Yep. So I'm not going to show a clip from this, but this is an interesting one to look on. Look on your own. Basically, Zohran Mamdani teamed up with Brad Lander, who was another candidate for mayor. And what was the interesting story is basically a Muslim and a Jew teaming up. A Jewish person and a Muslim person teaming up. Historically, there may have been tensions between two religions, but like seeing them team up, it really gave a lot of positive energy to the whole city, for, you know, hey, like in our politics moving forward, maybe we can work together. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. And yeah, just to see that Zohran has the friends energy or the tribe motivation. He's like, let me get this guy who also shares very similar ideas. They have very similar politics, and they're just combining forces. And that's where the friends energy will beat, you know, the number threes and the number ones, because they're not afraid to make friends, even at work. Yeah. So the last clip I have today, and then we're going to get into the guesses, is someone who I'm going to be doing a typing class in 4 weeks. So this is going to be the third episode. So this is episode 1, and then episode 3 is going to happen in 4 weeks. Episode 2 is in 2 weeks. HasanAbi is probably a social 3, but just seeing how Hasan is going for this journalist vibe, trying to ask hard questions, but Zohran's too friendly. I thought it's a good clip, so it'll be about like a minute and a half or 2 minutes. Let's see basically the number 2 and the number 3 talking to each other, even though they have similar politics. The vibe is pretty interesting.
How we're forced to spend much of our lives, which is on a hamster wheel, fighting for the most basic necessities.
Yeah. Meritocracy, obviously real.
Mhm.
Elon Musk worked the hardest and the smartest.
Mhm.
Why do you hate the successful, wealthy people like Elon Musk, who clearly have worked very hard
You know, first,
to earn $300 billion?
if we want to credit Elon Musk, we got to also credit some of his greatest assistants in the game, Andrew Cuomo being one of them, who gave Elon Musk about $1 billion in a public subsidy for Tesla many years ago, before Donald Trump even got on the Elon Musk train. And I think that's what's so frustrating about so many of these figures, is they masquerade as being.
What did he do with $1 billion of subsidy?
We're still trying to figure it out.
Wait, so what is
This was a subsidy plan to allegedly create jobs, especially in Buffalo, and this was what passed for climate policy under Andrew Cuomo.
Did Elon Musk create jobs in Buffalo?
Not at the level that was promised. And that's a pretty standard Elon Musk story.
Seems like a pretty standard Andrew Cuomo story
Yeah.
as well. Who else? Okay, don't dab me up.
No, sorry, my bad.
I'm
That's
an impartial person.
that's an interesting idea.
I'm
and
an impartial person,
I'm really
and I'm
interested
doing
in looking-
contentious adversarial journalism.
Can
right
you back off? Can you back
Yeah.
off with that question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Okay, so
You see, how can you not like the guy? Yeah, I muted for a second. The guy, he is too friendly, even in a journalistic environment where Hasan's trying to ask hard questions. He just can't help but be friendly there. Yeah, double deciding for sure. Yeah, and we're going to get into guesses pretty soon. But it's nice to see a little bit of a preview of Hasan, but then seeing the number 2 and the number 3 working together, where Hasan is basically doing the specialist role. He's learning deeply about the problems, where Zohran is doing what Hasan would think is common sense solutions. It's not such a deep, detail view of the problems, but Zohran is going for the solutions. And yeah, it's just an interesting. Yeah, can you back off? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, a lot of double deciding here. Yep. And yeah, it's a very good clip to just highlight the double deciding. And yeah, so the next thing we're going to be doing here is just going over, well, I was going to talk about vibes a bit, but we're going to go over guesses pretty soon. But let me just make a note about vibes, because in New York City, the vibes have definitely shifted after Zohran won. And it's something where the people who get a lot of hate directed towards them, like Zohran, right? They're kind of being tricked into being angry about things. But what happens when someone has a better relationship with their own vibes, basically, is they're able to transfer from the anger and the fear, and they're able to move towards love and joy and peace and all these other things. This is something that I'll probably be talking about in separate videos, not as much here, but I think vibes are a good thing to think about aside from just type, because I think Zohran has, you know, a lot of death threats against him. So it's a very good opportunity to try to choose living a better life, living a better vibe. I'm just a ST blockhead talking about the NF. But yeah, so my guess via the elimination tool. So if I'm just soft guessing, I would be, you know, basically narrowing down to some kind of lead NI. Now that's probably what I'm confident in, you know, guessing wise. I have a more specific guess that I'm going to share, but yeah, what's happening is that Zohran is talking about the NI, and he is an observer, not a decider, with all that double deciding, and he does know which way he's going to go. He's not necessarily an ENTP, you know. He's got a plan, he's got his, you know, bullet points, and it's all this abstract future. And yeah, so what are his deciders in the middle? It's harder to tell because he's moving back and forth very quickly between them, and he doesn't have too many decider issues in that regard. So I could take it or leave it. I think, Seven here said that he kind of reminded me of Vivek, and that's totally true. I think that he's in that ballpark, and so what I guessed actually is NIDI, Sleep Blast Play, number 2, MF. I'm going with FI, so that would be an INTJ jumper. And yeah, it's because I think he's a little bit more NF than he is NT, you know, but it's hard to tell because you'd be double activated on your blast, which in this case would be double activated NT blast. Which makes sense because he's doing a lot of explaining of policies, explaining of socialism, explaining of things. But he does tend to quote people like Martin Luther King, so he has them do the kind of NF. So he'll reference some other people for the NF blast. That's my guess, right? But I think he's definitely in that ballpark of Vivek Ramaswamy and actually Dave. I think if you look closely, you know, Dave said he looks Middle Eastern, and I think this type does look like that a little bit. Yeah, so I think he's probably the same exact 2048 as Dave. That's my guess. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. So there's no official types in these typings I'm going to be doing. But if there is an official guess, I will be adding it in the description. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, so that's my final guess. Lock it in. MF, NIFI, Sleep Blast Play, Consume Last, number 2. And there were some interesting like consume last moments, but I'm not going to get into that. Some funny things around race and yeah, certain issues that people have with him. It can be kind of like an SF consume last moment, but I'm not going to dig too much into that. So in 2 weeks, I'm going to be typing Asmongold, who is a YouTube or Twitch streamer. He's going on different platforms as well. And then I'm going to be doing HasanAbi in 4 weeks. Now, these two, maybe they're friends in the past, but they're kind of fighting and arguing. They're on different sides of the political spectrum, it seems. I don't know. But it's kind of a battle. I'll just spoil this, you know, right now, is that I think that Asmongold is a number 2 and HasanAbi is a number 3. So it's very interesting watching the number 2s and the number 3s fighting each other. For me as a number 1, I'm like, wow, they're just missing it. They're both missing each other so badly. And because they would probably be on the same side, but they just don't understand where the other person is coming from. So I think it's going to be an interesting set of classes. Hopefully I'll be able to prepare better in terms of the technical stuff. And yeah, anyway, let me know what you thought of Zohran Mamdani. And yeah, it's pretty big political earthquake. It's a pretty big political earthquake. And yeah, thanks for watching. And hopefully the classes are going to get better and better every time. I do have more than 10 people in my backlog, so there's going to be a lot of other future classes. You can look forward to that. And I'm definitely going to improve my my blast and all the things with regards to this stream. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. See you guys next time. And leave any feedback you have. But yeah, I have a lot of things to improve over time. Cheers.